This is cheese, and this is a potato. They're very different besides being close in pH. A potato has a pH 6, where cheese is around 5.1. Now the reason I'm talking like this is because I lost my voice a few days ago, but I really wanted to get this video done for you guys, so I figured I would just push through it. I'm drinking tea and doing everything I could possibly do, but it's just not coming back. Now the reason I'm talking about pH levels of potatoes and cheese is because this cheese is actually made from a potato, but it tastes just like a sharp cheddar. Now I recently saw Merle trying some potato cheese and not giving the best reaction to it, but I know potatoes can make some pretty good cheese. I've looked into this a few years ago, and I've probably made about 5 or 6 different cheeses made from potatoes or potato starch. I mean, it can come out really good. Potato starch makes a great cheese substitute and has the ability to be chewy, cheesy, and has a little stretch and pool. A lot of companies use potato starch as their main textural component. So when I saw the original video from Haley Burns where she made a very simple potato cheese, I knew it could totally work. There might have just been an issue with the amount of acid used in the recipe. In her recipe, she used pickle juice, which makes sense considering pickle juice and cheese both contain lactic acid. While pickles are higher in their lactic acid content, they also just kind of taste like pickles, which cheese doesn't, so you gotta use a little less of it. So let's tune this up a bit. We're gonna be taking a probably pretty good simple recipe and just using a few unique ingredients to make it more accurate in taste. So let's get going. So first, like Haley, we're gonna use a regular just baked potato, and I'm gonna be steaming it for about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm just gonna check it with a fork until it's nice and tender all the way through. Now, while this is still hot, I'm gonna quickly peel it, cube it, and toss it into a blender. Now, again, I'm going to go with the same seasonings as Haley used. I'm going to assume that they're pretty good because a lot of her recipes look really, really good. So I'm going to use just about a half teaspoon of turmeric, teaspoon paprika, quarter teaspoon garlic powder, quarter teaspoon onion powder, and about a teaspoon of salt. And now she used a starch slurry with some plant-based milk, but I don't really think you need the slurry because we're going to be blending this pretty aggressively. I want to make sure this is incredibly smooth. So I'm just going to add about 3 tablespoons of cornstarch here. Now you can use some potato starch, but I figure the potato already has all of that version covered, and a little starch diversity doesn't hurt. Now, instead of using like anything pickled or anything like that to go for the lactic acid, we're just going to be using the source, lactic acid. If you don't know where to find this, head over to Saucestache.com, click on shop, recommendations, and then you'll see my Amazon store, which has all of the recommended ingredients that I use. I have the Druid's Grove lactic acid, which is derived from beets. It's completely vegan. I'm going to be using about a teaspoon of that. Now, along with that, I'm also going to be adding about 4 tablespoons of water and a tablespoon of nutritional yeast, which has the savory glutamate flavor that is needed for cheese. Now, because of that, I'm also going to be using some MSG. I think with my voice being a little hoarse, it made that really like extra. I'm kind of excited about it. I'm going to save that voiceover. So we only needed about a quarter teaspoon of that, and that's going to work just fine. So I'm going to toss the lid on and get this blending. Now we're just going to blend for just a few minutes just to get it into a paste, and then we're going to slowly start adding in some plant milk. Now you can use whatever plant milk you like, and I'm going to do this about a tablespoon at a time. I'm really only going to add about 2 tablespoons here. I just want the mixture to be incredibly smooth. No graininess whatsoever. Now you can see this is pretty smooth. There's still a little bit there. It can go a little bit more. Now we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You can use any oil you like. We're going to blend that up for just another few moments, and you can see with the BlendTech, this gets incredibly hot. Really powerful blender will do that, so it starts to kind of liquefy the starches, and you can see just how smooth this comes out. Now I want to make sure those starches get cooked all the way, so we're going to toss them into a pan, bring it up to a simmer. Once they're at the simmer, we're going to turn the heat off, let those cook for just a few moments, about 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'm just going to throw this into a container. I'm going to cover it with a paper towel. I don't want this to be completely sealed because I want some of the liquid to be able to evaporate. Then we're just going to toss that into the fridge and let it sit overnight. Now, besides losing my voice, I know a lot of you have noticed how much weight I've lost. I feel like a new person, and that all started because of today's sponsor, Noom. Noom leverages a powerful combination of human coaches, science, and psychology to empower people to take control of their own health. All in all, since I started Noom 2 years ago, I am down 80 pounds. And a lot of you have asked how I did it, but it wasn't just one change or one thing specifically. It was a lot of little changes to what I was eating, how much, and when. I can't really lay out like a diet or give you a plan because it was just minor adjustments over the course of 2 years that made big improvements to my life. I love Noom's food and exercise trackers. I'm running and doing yoga, which are 2 things I never thought I would do. And the lessons and articles on Noom are fantastic. It's my favorite part. It's what I really believe is what's made the biggest difference for me. It's learning little things about the human mind, like the one I read this morning on Noom about a study that was done where people ate more when they were in group settings. And the more people you were with, the more you were likely to eat. Noom has made me more aware of myself, the choices I make, and it gives you the tools to make better choices in the future. Noom helps users better understand themselves, their brains, and the science of choice. The things I've learned with Noom are not a diet. It's changed the way that I think and feel about food in the best way that I can imagine. So gang, I'm really serious about this one. I tell everyone, I tell all of my friends. Click the link in the description to take your free Noom evaluation and redeem your free 14-day trial. It's quick, easy, and it will help you create your custom plan. Noom, thanks for sponsoring today's video and for being the catalyst that created a much happier and healthier me. Okay, so it's the next day. I pulled this out of the fridge and you can see that it comes out. I mean, it's pretty nice. It's dry, but it's still fairly tacky. This would make a good spreadable cheese at this point. You can slice it just fine, but I wanted to go one extra step. I wanted to dry this out just a pinch more, and to do that, we're actually gonna throw it in the freezer. So I'm gonna oil up a small container, just a small glass container, toss this in, and I'm gonna toss it in the freezer for about 2 hours. That should be enough time for this to freeze most of the way through. And for you to click the subscribe and like button and share if you like. I mean, I'm doing this voiceover with no voice. You could give me a little bit of help. Now, you could totally freeze this overnight. When you freeze something and it's not covered, it's actually gonna evaporate some of the moisture while it freezes and those ice crystals are formed, and this could create a drier product, something more resembling cheese. Now, this is frozen, so I was able to get a nice slice out of it, and we're gonna use those slices to make a nice grilled cheese sandwich. Now I'm gonna toast the first half with the top piece of bread off, and then once it's toasted a little bit, I'm gonna add some water, allow that cheese to steam and really see how it melts. Vegan cheese usually requires a little steam to melt, and then that's okay. But you could see here that it seems like it's melting pretty good. I'll add the top on, flip it over, give it a few flips, and we should have a pretty nice melty cheese here. Now, for the rest of this, I just wanted to see if it would shred. It totally shreds up fine. I sliced some small slices using a cheese slicer for some crackers. All this is looking pretty good. I'm pretty excited about how this came out. But now let's see what Monica has to say. She doesn't know exactly what I made. She just knows that this is cheese.
Ooh, this looks good. Now, what is this made from again?
Okay, well, don't worry about it.
Cheers. Very cheesy.
Yeah. Going for sharp cheddar.
That was exactly what it is.
Do you have any taste whatsoever of anything else?
No, I don't know what it is besides cheese.
Okay. Can you take a guess? Did you see me make this yesterday at all?
No. I don't know. Is it tofu?
No.
Is it chickpeas?
No.
I don't know.
Cheers. I'm excited about this.
This is awesome.
Super good, right? Describe it.
Okay. It's like gooey, but not in a bad way, in a cheesy way. It's got that gooiness to it. It's not super oozy, which makes me happy. I'm not a fan of like when you have grilled cheese and it oozes all over. I kind of like it to just stay right in the sandwich, so that's good.
Yeah.
Really smooth texture. It tastes like cheese. It feels like cheese melts like butter in my mouth, you know? It's really good. I enjoy this even more than on the cracker.
So I'm going to give my opinion. I just want to see what you think.
Okay.
Is it too sour?
It does have a sourness to it. I was going to say that I don't know what it is, but it tastes a little sour. But I don't think it's too sour. Like, to me, it still tastes more like cheese, like a sharp cheddar. And I'm not turned off by the sourness. I can just tell there's a little bit of sour flavor to it.
I went a little too far. What about the richness?
Oh, yeah. It's very rich, very savory.
Yeah.
The right amount of rich and the right amount of savory. Just melts like cheese in your mouth, you know? Yeah, I love it.
Now, as far as the smoothness, you're not getting any sort of textural. I mean, I'm not.
It's just smooth.
So if I told you this was actually made from a baked potato, that is just a baked potato seasoned and flavored.
That's impressive. I would never have guessed it. No. Even now that I know it's not potatoey, it's not starchy. I'm not like, nope, I can tell. I'm not like that.
No.
I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's like amazing. I actually might give like this a 9, the heated cheese. But like the one on the cracker, my only issue with it is it tastes like cheese and it's delightful, but it sticks in your teeth. Yeah. And interestingly enough, this melted cheese doesn't stick in your teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the flavor is great on both. I just really prefer this melted cheese, and it's delicious.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Yay.
Cheese from a potato. Fixed.